Shuklam Varadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadhanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopakarottam Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi Om. Dear friends, welcome to the study of the Yoga Sutras. We were studying the sutra number 43 in the first chapter, that is Samadhipada. 43, that is Smruti Parishuddhau Swarupa Shunyeva Arthamatra Nirbhasa Nirvitarka. We should not forget these terms: Savitarka, Nirvitarka, Vichara, Ananda, Asmita. Vitarka Anugama, Vichara Anugama, Ananda Anugama, Asmita Anugama. So these words we should not forget. Vitarka is where the broad characteristics of a particular object, they are in mind. They are very much in mind. And also Vitarka is something where you are focusing on. Vitarka, the broad thing is you are focusing on a gross object. Vitarka, you are focusing on a gross object. Vichara, we are focusing on a subtle aspect. Vichara, a subtle entity, a subtle aspect, we are focusing on that. That is Vitarka and Vichara. Then again, in Vitarka again, he made some fine distinction. That is Savitarka and Nirvitarka. In the Vitarka only, he made some differentiation. That is Savitarka and Nirvitarka. What is that Savitarka? Where all the features of a particular object are also there in the mind. I am concentrating on Gayatri, I am dwelling on, meditating on Gayatri, and I am conscious of all the description of Gayatri in that Dhyana Shloka, and I am conscious of all other characteristics and features. That is Savitarka. Nirvitarka is where I totally, all those things are all totally absent and mind totally takes the form of that object, whatever object I am meditating. Maybe Gayatri means my mind assumes that particular shape. So that is Nirvitarka. In the same way, Savichara and Nirvichara are also being commented upon. That also we'll see. So we will see Smruti Parishuddhau Swarupa Shunyeva. First we will see this Nirvitarka. And after that he will come to Savichara and Nirvichara. He will come to that later. So for this sutra, Smruti Parishuddhau Swarupa Shunyeva Arthamatra Nirbhasa Nirvitarka, we saw the introduction. I will again show you. We'll just quickly run through that introduction. I'll share the screen now. Yeah, this is the sutra, and there is an introduction to that. That introduction is, Yada punaha shabda sanketa smruti parishuddhau. Smruti is memory. Parishuddha means very, very clear. Clear of what? When all these details about shabda sanketa, smruti shabda sanketa, there is a word, is actually a symbol for some object. That is, all that thing is gone. And Shruta Anumana Jnana Vikalpa Shunyayam Samadhi Prajnayam. That Samadhi Prajna is totally devoid of Shruta Anumana Jnana. That is, all the verbal and inferential information about a particular thing. All those things are absent from the mind. So let us see the translation. And when the absorption is devoid of diversity of verbal and inferential knowledge, when they fade away due to concentration, not as though we totally forget, but it fades away because you are concentrating on that object only. Prajnayam, Swarupa Matrena Avasthitaha Arthaha means that particular object. Swarupa Matrena Avasthitaha, it is just existing in that Swarupa only, without all those defining or describing features. Tat Swarupakara Matrataya Eva Avachhidyate. And it is perceived in the mind only in that Swarupakara Matra, only as that Swarupa, nothing else. Sa Nirvitarka Samapattihi. In that Vitarka only, he made a distinction between Savitarka and Nirvitarka. In that earlier thing, you have got a description as a Shabda Jnana, Shabda Artha Jnana, Vikalpai, Sankirna, Shabda Artha Jnana, Jnanaihi, Vikalpai, Sankirna means mixed up. So that sort of Samadhi is called, that is a Savitarka. But now all that Shabdartha Jnana has disappeared. And in that mind, only that object is there, that focus. So that is what is the level of Nirvitarka. It is a slightly higher level. Sa Nirvitarka Samapattihi. Then tat param pratyaksham. All this we read. Param pratyaksham is it is a higher level of perception. Tacha shrutanumanayoho bijam. And that is the bijam for Shruti and Anumana. Because all the rishis, the Vedic rishis, when they dwelt on various things and they had some revelations in their mind. When they had revelations, then they gave expression to those revelations, and that revelation became Shruti, and again from that Anumana. And nacha Shruta Anumana Jnana Sahabhutam Tad Darshanam. So the Darshanam, when that revelation takes place, in that revelation, all that thing may not appear, but later an expression is given to that revelation. Jnana Sahabhutam Tad Darshanam. Then the yogi has a vision which is expressed by Agama and inference. Hence the vision is called the seed of Agama and inference. Okay. Tasmad asankirnam pramanantarena yoginaha nirvitarka samadhijam darshanamiti. Asankirnam. Asankirnam is it is not mixed up with any other pramana or with any other knowledge. That nirvitarka samadhijam darshanam. That is that vision which arises from this nirvitarka samadhi. And nirvitarka samadhijam means arising from that nirvitarka samadhi. That is unmixed by any other thing. Then lakshanam dyotyate. Lakshanam is definition. What is the definition? Smruti parishuddhau swarupa. I think we read this line also. Smruti parishuddhau swarupa shunya iva arthamatra nirbhasa nirvitarka. This nirvitarka samadhi is like this. What is that? Smruti parishuddhau. When the memory of all those things, they fade from the mind. It is not as though the memory gets cleared. We can also write like that. Memory gets cleared, we can also say. That memory of words and meanings, they fade away from the mind. Swarupa shunya iva. As though that object alone stands as though contentless. That object alone is present as though, devoid of any other descriptive features. Arthamatra nirbhasa. The object alone shines. Bha means shining. That is appearing. It is there, present in the mind only. And that means the mind has transformed into that particular thing. Because in meditation, what happens? Meditation is the mind takes the shape of a particular object. Even ordinarily also, ordinarily when we look at a thing, it takes that shape. Vishaya Akara Karita. And in meditation, it is there for a long time. It is dwelling in that form for a long time. Arthamatra nirbhasa nirvitarka. That is called nirvitarka samadhi. So then, let us see. The translation is, when memory of words and meanings fade from the mind, or when the mind is cleared, when the mind is cleared of memory, then when the object alone shines as though contentless, it is called nirvitarka level of absorption or transformation. So we have to read from here. Ya shabda sanketa shrutanumana jnana vikalpa smruti parishuddhau. Because Vyasa Bhashya, we are finding long lines and also very long samasas. Shabda sanketa smruta arumana jnana vikalpa smruti parishuddhau. Smruti parishuddhau is the basic thing. That is when the mind is cleared. When the mind is cleared of what? Shabda sanketa. For every object there is a shabda. This is an object and I give the name pen. Pen is the sanketa for this particular object. So when you are thinking about some divine entity, let us say some aspect of divinity, I visualize as Lakshmi. Some aspect of divinity I visualize as Saraswati. Some other aspect of divinity I visualize as Hanuman or something. So I give a name to that name and I visualize I have some certain features, some descriptive features for that. So Shabda Sanketa. Then Shruta Anumana Jnana. Shruta. It may be there in the Shruti also. It may be there in the Agama. It may be, and again followed by Anumana. Shruti, when it is there, followed by Anumana also. All that Jnana, Vikalpa. Vikalpa means all that diversity. All that Vikalpa, diversity. So all that thing is Smruti Parishuddhau. So all when the mind is cleared of all these things, Shabda, Smruti, Shruti and Anumana, all these things, it is not mixed up at all. Then Grahya Swarupa Uparakta Prajna. I think Parishuddhau, I can also put a comma here. Where is it? Somewhere it has jumped to somewhere else. Parishuddhavya, I did not get the cursor here. Okay, somewhere else the comma has gone. Smruti Parishuddhav, Grahya Swarupoparakta Prajna. So this Prajna, that is our awareness. That awareness, Grahya Swarupa Uparakta. It is just filled with the idea of that Grahya. Grahya means that focus, object and focus. You are having that object and focus. It may be Hanuman, it may be Saraswati, it may be something else. So that Grahya is the Swarupa, which is that Prajna or awareness is just filled with that. Uparakta. Uparakta means it is colored by that, it is tinged with that, by that, it got transformed into that. So like that. That awareness is in the form of that Grahya Swarupa, just in the form of that Grahya only. Then Swamiva Prajna Swarupam Grahanatmakam Tyaktva Swam Rupam Tyaktva Iva. Swam Prajna Swarupam Tyaktva Iva. So that is normally what is the characteristic of the mind? Characteristic of the mind is to examine, to analyze and do all those things. But here it is not doing, the mind is not doing any such analysis. It is not thinking about its features and all that. All those things have just disappeared and you are just absorbed in that. You are just absorbed in that. All other ideas have disappeared. So that is Prajna Graha Swarupam Grahanatmakam. Grahanatmakam is when you are cognizing a thing, you are analyzing it, you are knowing about its features, etc. So here, that mind is not doing its normal job. Mind is totally devoid of all that. Swamiva Prajna Swarupam Grahanatmakam Tyaktva Padartha Matra Swarupa. So it is just Padartha Matra Swarupa. It's Rupam. The mind's Rupam is that form. The mind has taken the form of Padartha Matra. So you are focusing on some object and the mind has taken shape of that particular object. Padartha Matra Swarupa. Grahya Swarupa Apanneva Bhavati. So it is looking as though it has assumed the form of Grahya. Grahya Swarupa Apanna. Apanna means assumed. Grahya Swarupa Apanna. It has assumed the form of that Grahya. Then that level is called Sa Tada Nirvitarka Samapattihi. That is called Nirvitarka Samapatti. See the sentence again. Ya Shabda Sanketa Smruta Shrutanumana Vikalpa Smruti Parishuddhav. That which happens after the mind is cleared of all these things. Smruti Parishuddhav Satyam, when that Smruti Parishuddhi takes place, or Smruti Parishuddhi that is devoid of all this knowledge. Then Grahya Swarupo Parakta Prajna, when the awareness is just in the form of that Grahya Swarupa. Swamiva Prajna Swarupam Grahanatmakam Tyaktva. The mind has, forgotten its ability to analyze and then its normal nature of looking at all the details. It is not looking at all those details. Then Padartha Matra Swarupa, it is just in the form of the Padartha only. Then Grahya Swarupa Apanneva Bhavati. Grahya Swarupa Apanneva Bhavati. So it is looking as though it has just assumed the shape of that Padam Grahya. Sa Tada Nirvitarka Samapatti. So that type of Samapatti is called Nirvitarka Samapatti. So I hope it is clear. Then the next line, let me read the translation also. When the memory of the word symbol, verbal and inferential knowledge fades away, when the mind attains the form of object under meditation, as though having lost its own discriminating nature, that is Swamiva Prajna Grahanatmakam Tyaktva. Then discriminate and shines merely as the object, as though transformed into that. Such transformation is called Nirvitarka. So in all these meditations, the mind is getting transformed into something else. So that is the point. Then Tathacha Vyakhyatam. It has been explained in the same way, but not by an earlier commentator. I later checked up. Is there any later commentator? It is not an earlier commentator in that introduction. It has been explained means in that introduction only. It has been explained. I'll delete it. In that introduction. Then tasya ekabuddhyupakramo hi arthatma anuprachaya visheshatma gavadihi ghatadirva lokaha. Tasyaha means of that Nirvitarka Samapatti. Nirvitarka Samapatti is feminine. So that is why tasyaha, for that samapatti, tasyaha samapatti, for that samapatti, lokaha, this word tasya has to be connected to this loka. Loka means not any world. Loka here means an object. Tasyaha lokaha, lokyate iti lokaha. So in that sense, he has used it. Lokyate iti lokaha, that which is seen, that which is cognized. So lokaha means object. So tasyaha lokaha, ekabuddhyupakramaha. So that object is, for such transformation, the object of focus is, it creates actually, ekabuddhi upakramaha. Upakrama means starting. Upakrama, upasamhara, we say upakrama is starting. Ekabuddhi upakramaha means that which generates only one buddhi. So ekabuddhi upakramaha. Arthatma. Artha means it is of the nature of a particular object. It is of the nature of a physical object. Arthatma, its nature is that it is a physical object. Then anuprachaya visheshatma. Anuprachaya. Anu is atoms, minute particles. Bhuta sukshma here, for that bhuta sukshma, because we are now talking about, not at vichara. We are talking about vitarka only. Anuprachaya visheshatma. So any gross object is formed by a sort of mixing up of various atoms and all that. So that is what they are writing also. We are going to see that. Anuprachaya visheshatma. Anuprachaya. Prachaya is samoha. Anu samoha visheshatma. A particular form which has arisen or which has formed because of the collection of atoms. It is a conglomerate of atoms. So that is the point. Gavadihi ghatadirva lokaha. Gavadi, something which is alive. Ghatadihiva. Insentient, sentient and insentient. Any sentient or insentient object which is capable of giving, which generates only single buddhi. That is, it is taken as a single thing. And it is something which is arthatma. Arthatma means it is a physical one. And anuprachaya visheshatma. It is something which is a collection of atoms. Why are these words used? So for this line, there is a lot of Shastra Charcha. Shastra Charcha in the commentary, particularly of Vachaspati Mishra. Oh, we need not go into that. I cannot go into that because I have to read what is this Buddhism. I have to read something more about this philosophy and Sankhya philosophy. So here, he is refuting the Buddhist arguments. Because in all these commentaries, whether it is Shankaracharya's Bhashya, if you see for Gita Bhashya or any other Bhashya, then when he is using certain terms, he is actually replying to the his contemporary schools. So his contemporary debaters are there. So Mimamsaka is saying something, and the Buddhist is saying something else. So, and Sankhya person, he is also saying something else. So all these discussions were going on, debates were going on in olden days. You see, in India, we have this tradition of Shastra Charcha. So all these people, okay, the king is organizing a big sabha. Even now, like all these Peethams, they do organize Shastra Sabhas. For example, Udupi Peetham or Sungeri Peetham. So all these Shastra Sabhas are organized. So Advaita Pandits and Dvaita Pandits, Visishta Advaita Pandits and all these Pandits, they go and then they do debate. Of course, they come back with their own theory. But anyway, in olden days, it was a question of winning over. Now, of course, it is not a question of winning. It is only a question of consolidating one's own understanding. So in olden days, okay, if you get defeated, you have to come to my point of view and then you have to follow me. So, probably during the time of when this Bhashyam was written by Vyasa, the Buddhist theory was very, very predominant. So that is the reason why Vyasa Bhashyam, there are so many references to Buddhist and Buddhist philosophy. So here, Ekabuddhi Upakramaha. What is this? Ekabuddhi Upakrama means it creates a single cognition in the mind. Ekabuddhi Upakrama. Upakrama means starting. Ekabuddhi Janakaha. So that is why is he saying that? Because according to Buddhists, everything is Shanikam. So the moment I see something, the mind also is not there, the object also is not there, object has changed, the mind has changed, and then the cognition which takes place in this particular moment is different from the cognition of the next moment. So it goes on as a sort of pravaha. But here we are contradicting that. Vyasa is contradicting that, saying that this focus, whatever that object and focus is, ekabuddhyupakramaha. Then again, arthatma, artha means a physical object. So there, in the case of Buddhists, there cannot be a physical object at all, because Buddhists, they say Vijnanavada. Vijnanavada means something which is only an external object, is only a projection of your own mind. So how is it? I cannot explain, because unless I read Buddhism very thoroughly, I can't explain. So if we have to read this particular, such paras in this Vyasa commentary, then probably we have to go to somebody who has got that interdisciplinary knowledge, somebody who has read, say, Buddhism, and somebody who has read other Sankhya philosophy in depth. So arthatma means it has to be a physical one, because the Buddhists, they say that the external objects are projection of the mind. Then anuprachaya visheshatma, anuprachaya, a sort of conglomeration of what is this, subtle particles. Anu means a subtle particle, atom, let us say. So here again we see the discussion, huge discussion, because the Buddhists, they did not accept what is called Panchikarana. So Panchikarana is something which is a hypothesis given by Vedanta. Why you say that, okay, initially that in Vedanta, according to Vedanta, that Maya Shakti, that Maya is otherwise called Pradhana in Sankhya. Okay, Prakriti or Pradhana, one and the same. Prakritehe Mahan, Mahato Ahankaraha, Ahankarat Tanmatrani. So that is from Tanmatra, again this Bhuta Panchakam. So Tanmatras, up to that Tanmatra is that pure form of elements, that is Prithvi, pure form of Prithvi is Tanmatra, not mixed up with anything. Then Tanmatra of Agni, only Agni and not mixed up with anything. So these are the Tanmatras, and those Tanmatras, how did they become the gross elements? Tanmatra is something which cannot be known by the senses. Then how did Tanmatra assume a shape, assume a form? So what do the logicians say? Logicians say, Buddhists, of course, they say it is all projection of your mind. Logicians say they accept these atoms. Vaisheshika and also Tarkika, they do accept the atoms. So atoms, when they mix, so when two atoms mix, they become a Dvenuka. And again, two Dvenukas, they became a Trianuka. And a Trianuka, then again from that, it becomes visible. Trianuka, again, Trasarenu, they say. Trasarenu means when, suppose you sit near a window and that sunlight is passing through. And when, of course, some small dust particle which is rising up in that air. So that particular thing is called a Trasarenu. So this Trasarenu is again, that is the smallest thing which can be seen. Something like when the Dvenukas, they get mixed up in a particular form, they become a Trenuka, and then from there onwards it is physically seen. So here it is Anuprachaya Visheshatma. It is a Anuprachayatma, but at the same time a Visheshatma, he says. Anuprachaya, it is a mixture, it is a conglomerate of various atoms. And Gavadihiva Ghatadirva Lokaha. Lokaha is again an object. So let us see the translation. It has been explained. So, okay, for such transformation, the object of focus, that is Lokaha, creates a single cognition in the mind, that is Ekabuddhi Upakramaha. Then it is a physical one, that is Arthatma, and it is of the nature of being a specific type of conglomerate of atoms. Anuprachaya Visheshatma, because the mixture of atoms in a human being is different from the mixture of atoms in an animal, the mixture of atoms in some snake, the mixture of atoms in a stone, the mixture of atoms in something else. So even in the human body also, we are now familiar with all this periodic table and whatnot, and how various chemicals are formed by all these chemical combinations and whatnot. So, but in olden days, of course, at that time, they only visualized all these things. So a particular object is having a particular type of, a specific type of mixing up. Another object, it is having another type of sugar, for example, it is having a particular type of mix-up of atoms. And mirchi, it is having another type of mix-up of atoms. So that is what roughly they said. And so anyway, this object which I am now talking about, it is a physical object. It is a physical object, and that physical object is capable of generating a single cognition, that is Ekabuddhyupakramaha. It is of the nature of a physical object. It is not something which is a projection of your mind. And that is something which is a mixture of these atoms. Of course, this what is this Panchikarana is something which is a prakriya which is proposed by Vedanta. It is not clearly accepted by Sankhya, but Sankhya people do not, they have not rejected it also. They have not rejected it also, almost like accepting only, but they have not rejected it also, so far as I know. Then I also checked up with a couple of scholars yesterday, but they were not very clear. So anyway, such a samsthana visheshaha, any further explanation? No. Such a samsthana visheshaha, bhuta sukshmanam sadharano dharma. Bhuta sukshmanam sadharana dharma. That is, all these minute elements coming together and forming a samsthana vishesha. Samsthana is a particular aggregate. Samsthana is an aggregate or a conglomerate. So it is the normal property of all these minute objects to come together and form into a visible object. Samsthana visheshaha, bhuta sukshmanam sadharano dharma. So such formation of a conglomerate of atoms is the general property of the atoms. Then atma bhutaha. Atma bhutaha means that is the very nature of all these atoms. Atma bhutaha. Atma is nature, very nature. Atma bhutaha, the very nature of atoms. And how do you infer it? Phalena vyaktena anumitaha. That is vyaktena phalena anumitaha. Vyaktena, that which has been manifested. Suppose I see a pot. That pot is a collection of all these atoms of clay, let us say. And when I look at the pot, I know that it is made up of some small minute things. And all those minute things have a particular character. So, Vyaktena, what is the Abhivyakta Vastu is pot. Abhivyakta means that which is manifest. Vyakta Vastu or Abhivyakta Vastu is pot. Vyaktena Vastuna, phalam is the result. Phalena Vyaktena means that as a result of that coming together, a new object is formed. And that formation of new object is the phalam, that is the result, isn't it? So, phalena vyaktena anumitaha, that is when I see the pot, then I realize that, when I go deep into the constituents of that pot, my mind goes deep and then it dwells on the minutest atom. So, but here we are dwelling on the pot. So, phalena vyaktena anumitaha. Then savyanjakanjanaha pradurbhavati. Savyanjakanjanaha. This is again a technical word, you see. Savyanjaka anjana. That is, the pot is the vyanjakam. The pot actually is the vyanjakam. Let me see what I have written. The explanation is the atoms. Example, okay, a pot manifests with the atoms which are its cause. Yeah, vyanjaka anjana. Vyanjakam is the cause. Savyanjaka anjana. The atoms are the cause for that particular pot. Atoms are the cause for that particular part. So, savyanjakanjana, that samsthana vishesha, is something which is associated with svavyanjaka. Svavyanjaka means its own cause. The part is made of all these minute particles. So, savyanjaka is that part, this atoms, that clay particles. So, svavyanjakanjana pradurbhavati. Pradurbhavati means arises. So, the whole sentence is such conglomerate, such formation or a conglomerate of atoms is the general property of atoms and the very nature of atoms and is inferred by its very formation. And it manifests with its cause. This is the meaning of savyanjakanjana. Svavyanjaka. Vyanjaka means that which reveals. The part is something which is revealing the presence of atoms. The part is something which is revealing the presence of atoms. Svavyanjakanjana pradurbhavati. Dharmantarasya kapaladehe udaye cha tiro bhavati. Dharmantarasya udaye. Dharmantara means, suppose when the pot breaks. When the pot breaks, then again the cognition of that pot, the cognition of pot disappears. That cognition, that whole vision of that pot in the mind, that it disappears. Dharmantarasya kapaladehe udaye. Kapala, you know what is kapala? Kapala, of course, this is kapala. But the real meaning of in logic, kapala is a broken piece of a pot. Suppose the pot breaks into pieces. The broken piece of a pot is called kapala. So kapala is said to be the karanam for the pot Just as the tantu means thread, is said to be the cause for pata. For that pata, tantu is the cause. So similarly, kapala is the cause for that pot. So dharmantarasya kapaladehe udayecha tiro bhavati. Sayesha dharmaha avayavi ityusyate. See, one more point here is avayavi and avayava. The Buddhists, they do not accept the idea of avayavi. The Buddhists, they do not accept that all these particles are small things coming together, they form a conglomerate, and then they do become an avayavi. All of us, we accept. Even Vedanta, tentatively, we accept, we give Vyavaharika Satyam to that. Nayayikas, they accept the reality of that object. Then, here, the Buddhists, they do not accept that it is an avayavi. Avayavi is that which has avayava is avayavi. So all these things, they have come together and then they form an avayavi. And when dharmantarasya kapala dehodaya means when that avayavi is broken and then it becomes a kapala, then that vision also disappears. Sayesha dharmaha avayavi ityuchate. That particular property, that particular object, sayesha dharmaha. Dharma does not mean property here. Sayesha dharmaha avayavi. That particular property. We see artha. Artha also means object. Dharma also means object, depending on the construction of the sentence. Sayesha dharmaha avayavi ityuchate. That particular object is called avayavi. Let us see. Yeah, I think I have written. When the property changes, just as breaking of pot into pieces, it withdraws. Such object, which is the collection of atoms, is called avayavi. So that which has limbs and parts. So this is mentioned here because he is refuting, Vyasa is refuting the Buddhist idea. So for a simple practitioner, for a simple yoga practitioner, all this logic may not be necessary. But for somebody who wants to understand, or probably who was there at that particular time, nowadays when you are doing, when you are meditating on this particular Stula Samapatti or Sukshma Samapatti, whatever it is, nobody, no Sankhya is coming and disputing with you. No Buddhist is coming and disputing with you. But probably in olden days, when they taught all these things, so some Buddhist came and then said, no, what you are saying is nonsense. Some other person came and said, no, it is wrong. So in order to refute the Buddhists, basically, so all these expressions are coming. Then, yo asau ekasya mahanscha aniyanscha sparshawanscha kriyadharmakascha anityascha. I could have broken it further. Yo asau, yaha asau. So it is one entity, yaha asau, this particular one, yaha asau, this one, ekascha, this is one entity, mahanscha aniyanscha, it may be big or minute. Mahan is big, aniyan is something which is minute, it may be big or small. Then again, sparshavanscha. Sparshavan means known to touch, known to the sense of touch. It is a gross object, isn't it? Known to the sense of touch. Then again, kriyadharmakascha, kriyadharmakam. In Tarka Shastra, they call it arthakriyakaritvam. Tarka and also Mimamsa, people, they say arthakriyakaritvam. Suppose we make a pot. And then there is a small particular, the pot head is there, isn't it? And pot head is so made that you can tie a rope around it. And then when you tie a rope around it, the pot will not slip away. So the rope exactly fits into that. You can fetch water from a well, or you can go to some place and then you can fetch water and then carry like this or carry on the head. So arthakriya karitvam is the capacity to do work, the capability to do work. Arthakriya karitvam. It is capable of being used. So that is that arthakriya karitvam. So here the same thing, kriya dharmakasya. So it is useful for any activity, kriya dharmakasya. Then anityascha. Again it is anitya. All these things are anitya. Tena avayavina vyavaharaha kriyante. Tena avayavina. By this avayavi, all regular transactions, they do take place. Vyavahara kriyante. A pot is there. Okay, you use that pot. You put some milk or boil milk and boil it or cook some rice. So all vyavahara is possible with all these avayavis. So yaha asau ekascha mahanscha aniyanscha sparshavanscha kriyadharmakascha anityascha. So many properties are being told for this particular gross object. It is one entity, big or minute, known to sense of touch, capable of performing some tasks like fetching water in the case of a pot, and the transactions are done with such avayavi. Then yasya punaha avastukaha. Now again he is specifically mentioning Buddhist. Earlier he did not mention Buddhist. Earlier he only used certain words which would refute Buddhist arguments. Now he is specifically mentioning Buddhist. Yasya punaha avastukaha sa prachaya visheshaha avastukaha. So that prachaya vishesha is that particular conglomerate of atoms. Prachaya is anu prachaya. Prachaya means a conglomerate, collection. So sa prachaya visheshaha yasya avastukaha. Vastu means that which exists. Avastu means that which does not exist. That means which is unreal. Buddhist says it is all unreal. It is a projection of the mind. For him who says that such conglomerate is totally unreal. This prachaya vishesha, the anvaya here is yasya punaha sa prachaya visheshaha avastukaha. Sa prachaya visheshaha avastukaha means that particular conglomerate is something which is unreal. Then sukshmam cha karanam anupalabhyam. So you see that particular vastu is something unreal. Then sukshma karanam, that is atoms, they are imperceptible. Sukshmam cha karanam anupalabhyam, something which is imperceptible. Then tasya avayavi abhavat. Then avayavi itself cannot be there. And atadrupa pratishtham mithya jnanamiti prayena sarvameva praptam mithya jnanamiti. So what will he say about yogi's claim? Yes, I have got this, I have got sakshatkara of, say, Saraswati. So when I say sakshatkara of Saraswati, he will say, okay, it is all your figment of imagination. Atadrupa, or some other sakshatkara, some other physical object, let us say. So atadrupa pratishtham, it is something which is not based on a real object. Atadrupa, not tatrupa pratishtham, that is not something based on a reality. Then mithya jnanam. Mithya jnanam is something which is unreal knowledge, something which is mithya jnanam. So iti, one who says like this, yasya punaha avastukaha prachaya visheshaha mithya jnanam iti, when he says so, then the Siddhanti says, prayena sarvameva praptam mithya jnanam iti. Then in which if you say like that, then prayena, then most probably sarvameva praptam mithya jnanam iti praptam. This praptam has to be taken to the end. So anvaya also, sometimes we have to be careful. Sarvameva mithya jnanam iti praptam means when you say like this, all this thing is avayavi abhavat, asadrupa pratishtham, etc., then everything becomes mithya. So let us see the translation. For the person who says that such conglomerate is unreal, that the subtle atoms which are the cause are imperceptible, that is karanam anupalabhyam, then and that its knowledge is unreal, atadrupa pratishtham, then because an avayavi cannot exist in real sense, avayavi cannot exist, then that the knowledge of such unreal is also unreal. That is mithya jnanamiti. Knowledge of the unreal is also unreal. For him, we answer that in such case, everything is false knowledge. Then what is the Buddhist talking about? Samyak jnana. Buddhist also, he says, when everything is false knowledge, then what is the right knowledge? He is talking about some samyak jnana. Buddhists, and they use that word samyak jnana. Tadacha samyak jnanam api kim syad vishaya bhavat. Yeah, I can split it also. Samyak jnanam api kim syad viveka vishaya bhavat. In such case, where is the question of right knowledge, as the Buddhists say, when there is no possibility of any object? Vishaya bhavat. Vishayasya bhavat. There is no possibility of any vishaya. There is no possibility of any physical object. Then where is the question of samyak jnana? So about what? What are you talking about samyak jnana? So that is what he questions. Then, so by dismissing that Buddhist, we don't know whether he has successfully refuted or not, because we have not studied Buddhism. Yet now tentatively we will say that he has refuted Buddhists. So yad upalabhyate tat avayavitvena amnatam means it is said. Amnaya, we know. Amnaya is Veda. Here, of course, not necessarily Veda. Amnatam means it is said. Aghratam, there is a, what is this? Pathantaram. Pathantaram also Tattad avayavitvena aghratam. Aghratam, if you say like that, it is a sort of figurative expression. But here amnatam is a normal expression. So there is one, my textbook says aghratam, whereas this Kevayam, this Krishna, that is this Yoga Vaisharati, my book, what does it say? Yeah, Vishayitvena aghratam it says. And the footnote also is given, amnatamiti pathantaram, that footnote also is there. So now we see, yad upalabhyate, whatever is upalabhyate means whatever is cognized, whatever is seen, whatever is available, whatever is known, tat tad, all that, tat tad, avayavitvena amnatam. Whatever we see, anything we see is avayavi. Because only when these things mix up, when things come together, then it becomes an avayavi. It becomes an avayavi capable of performing some activity with that. So anything, you take a pen, you take a cup, you take anything, so they all become avayavis. So all these things, they become avayavi iti akhyatam. Whatever is known as avayavi. It is said. We can also type like that. It is said. Okay. It's said, or maybe I have to use a better word. Amnatam. Shastra says something like that. Tasmad avayavi. Tasmad asti avayavi. Tasmad, hence, asti avayavi. Avayavi, there is something called avayavi. It exists. We have to accept that an avayavi exists. And mahatva adi vyavaharapannaha. Mahatva adi vyavaharapannaha. And we use expressions like it is big, it is small, etc., etc., possessing properties such as big or small. Mahatva adi vyavahara apannaha. Vyavahara means usage. Vyavahara is usage. We use certain expressions like big or small. In fact, possessing properties is not correct translation. I have to make a change. It is not properties. After reading, suddenly I do realize that it may not be a correct translation. Okay. Yeah. Possessing properties such as big or small, and which becomes an object for nirvitarka samapatti. So here, tasmad avayavi, yo mahatvadi vyavaharapannaha, samapattehe nirvitarkayaha vishayi bhavati. Nirvitarkayaha samapattehe, nirvitarkayaha samapattehe vishayi bhavati means it becomes the object for nirvitarka samapatti. So is it clear? I think, let us see. We'll go to the next sutra. Now, he is saying, okay, I have told about savitarka and nirvitarka. In a similar manner, you can take savichara and nirvichara also. Vitarka is about a stula object. This vichara is about sukshma bhuta. So when the vichara is about sukshma bhuta, then in the same manner, like savitarka and nirvitarka, you also understand this savichara and nirvichara. So that is what he says. Etaya eva, etayaiva savichara nirvichara cha sukshma vishaya vyakhyata. So etaya eva, by this itself, etaya eva, by this itself, that means by the earlier discussion, by all that earlier discussion, savichara means savichara samapattihi. That is mind getting transformed into that particular subtle object. Nirvichara, when you say savichara, mind is getting transformed into that subtle object, but then it is also aware of certain features, aware of certain characteristics. So that is why it is called savichara. Nirvichara means where even that memory fades away, smruti parishuddhau, that particular thing has to be applied here, smruti parishuddhau. That smruti parishuddhi means even all those properties, they also disappear from the mind. At that time, it is called nirvichara. Nirvichara cha sukshma vishaya. That is sukshma vishaya means that is relating to the subtle aspect. The vitarka is about sthula vishaya. This vichara is about sukshma vishaya. This sukshma vichara, again, two levels, savichara and nirvichara. That stands vyakhyata means it stands explained. It stands okay, explained, or what I would say. Okay, it stands explained. Sukshma Vijaya Vyakhyata. So, etaya eva, by this itself, savichara, transformation as a subtle entity, mixed with the knowledge of properties, mixed with the knowledge of its properties. Then nirvichara cha, and transformation into a subtle entity without such knowledge. One is with knowledge and without knowledge. That is Smruti Parishuddha. Then Sukshma Vishaya, having the subtle as Alambana. Vyakhyata. Vyakhyata means it stands explained. This is the sutra. Let us see the commentary. Yeah, translation is by this. That means in the same way, in the same manner, mind's transformation as a subtle entity with the knowledge of properties and without such knowledge. Subtle entity with knowledge, that is Savichara. Without such knowledge, Nirvichara, stands explained. So here, meditation on the gross entity was done in the earlier two types of vitarka. Then now the mind is on the subtle, which is the cause for the gross. So what is this Sthula and Sukshma? When we talk about Sukshma, we are going into the, suppose I say, I am minutely examining something. What is it? I am going deep into that object. That means I am trying to find out what is the cause. The gross is the effect. Cause, the subtle is the cause. Always, gross is the effect and subtle is the cause. So right from the Akasha, Dvayu, Vayu, Agni, Agnira, etc., etc., if you take, then Annat Prithvi, Annat Purusha, Prithivya, Vashadhaya, Vashadhi, Vyannam, Annat Purusha. That is the grossest form, isn't it? Purusha is the grossest form of evolution. So from this form, suppose we go back and back and back. So that is what we do in Panchakosha Pravilapa. Panchakosha Pravilapa, we say from this body, okay, this body is not me. Then this prana is not me. Then from the prana, you go back to the subtle. And again from mind, from Indriya, you go back to the mind. From mind, you go back to the Buddhi. So like that, again, that Buddhi, that cosmic one, link up to the cosmic one. So from gross to subtle is that analysis in order to find what is the cause, what is the ultimate cause. So that sort of analysis. So the yogi also is doing meditation on these lines. So then tatra bhuta sukshmakeshu avibhakta dharmakeshu desha kala nimitta anubhavavachinneshu ya samapattihi sa savichara ityuchyate. So these are all highly loaded words, you see. Tatra bhuta sukshmakeshu or bhuta sukshmeshu, whatever it is. This text says bhuta sukshmakeshu, but my book says bhuta sukshmeshu. My Hindi book says bhuta sukshmeshu, yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Tatra bhuta sukshmakeshu abhivyakta dharmakeshu. Bhuta sukshmakeshu abhivyakta dharmakeshu. So this abhivyakta dharma means all these bhuta sukshma you cannot see. And when they slightly combine with something else and they become gross. Of course, we are not talking about a gross one. Here again, it is a minute thing only. In this minute thing again is abhivyakta dharma. So its properties are seen. Its properties are at least noticed. Abhivyakta dharmakeshu desha kala nimitta anubhavavachinneshu. That is, when these things are cognized, desha kala nimitta also may be there. Desha kala nimitta. So they at a particular time, at a particular place, on a particular occasion. So these words, desha kala nimitta anubhavavachinneshu ya samapattihi sa savichara ityuchyate. So that savichara samapatti is something where the mind is associated with all the details about desha kala nimitta. The cognition is there. That single cognition is there. That single cognition of abhivyakta dharma is there. What about that bhuta sukshma also, about that subtle object also, about that subtle entity also. It is being cognized somehow. And when it is cognized, then we are also aware of the desha kala nimitta. Those things are also available to us in the mind. So such samapatti or such a transformation is called savichara samapatti. Bhuta sukshmakeshu, abhivyakta dharmakeshu. Suppose it is abhivyakta. Normally, or we can also take like this. Suppose you are looking at a pot. And pot is that abhivyakta dharma. Pot is abhivyakta dharma where the bhuta sukshmas have manifested into that. Now you leave the pot and meditate on the bhuta sukshmas. Because bhuta sukshmas themselves cannot be perceived. So you take that part and try to concentrate or try to meditate on the minutest particles of it. So that is bhuta sukshmakeshu, avibhakta dharmakeshu, we can understand like that. Desha Kala Nimittanubhava Avachinneshu. All these details they are also available. Ya Samapattihi Sa Savichara Ityuchyate. So that is called Savichara Samapattihi. Then let us see the translation. The mind transformation into the subtle elements which have manifested with awareness of their properties. That is Savichara. With awareness of their properties, defined by experiences of place, time, and content. Defined by experiences of place, time, and context, is called Savichara Samapattihi. Then I've given a small note. How do these subtle elements manifest? Yeah, what I told earlier, I have mentioned here. Different schools give different explanations. The Vedantas talk about Panchikaranam, a mixing of subtle elements in a particular. Yeah, this I could have put that note earlier. A mixing of subtle elements in a particular manner to assume gross form. The logicians talk of mixing of subtle elements, atoms in a particular manner to form gross objects. Sankhya and Yoga are silent on this because Sankhya and Yoga are sister philosophies. Vedanta talks about Panchikaranam, but Sankhya and Yoga, they have not mentioned it. They have not mentioned. They have only mentioned that this is Tanmatras, they become Bhuta, Panchabhutas. Then Tatrapi, Ekabuddhi, yeah, here also, Tatrapi, even here, Tatrapi, as in the case of Savitarka, Tatrapi, Ekabuddhi Nirgrahyam. Ekabuddhi, there also, it is seen as one particular object, and as a physical object, isn't it? We just read today only. As one object and a physical object. Here also, is the subtle entity, Ekabuddhi Nirgrahyam. Nirgrahyam is Nishayena Grahyam. Nishayena, Nairantaryena Grahyam. That is, it is seen. It is not something which is unreal. It is not something which is Kshanikam. It is something which is known. It is not Kshanikam. Ekabuddhi Nirgrahyam eva. Udita Dharma Vishishtam. Udita Dharma Vishishtam is Udita. So this word Udita actually means something which means arisen. Udita, Surya, Udita, Surya. Udita means something which has arisen. So here he is using in the sense of present. Present means Udita Dharma Visishtam is at this particular time, which is the Alambanam at this particular time. Udita Dharma Visishtam. Bhuta Sukshmam Alambani Bhutam. Bhuta Sukshmam, this subtle entity, which is the Alambana, Samadhi Prajnaya Upatishthate. So that gets Upatishthate means that gets established in the mind. That gets established in this mind. Ekabuddhi Nirgrahyam. So in this Savitarka, Savichara Samapatti, what happens is that subtle entity, its appearance is there. It is there present in the mind, along with its properties. Udita Dharma Visishtam, it is associated with the properties at that time of Samadhi. So the overall translation for this line is, even in that, as in the case of Savitarka, the subtle entity, which is the Alambana, the subtle entity is the Alambana here, and that is that gets established, Samadhi Prajnayam Upatishtati, it gets established in the mind, associated with the properties at that time. That is Udita Dharma Visishtam. Udita means present time, at that particular time. Udita, normal sense is that which has arisen. Surya, Udita, Surya. Udita means something which is arisen. But here it is present. Udita Dharma Visishtam, Prajnayam Upatishtate. So they get established in the mind, associated with the properties at that time of Samadhi, and as a single awareness only. That is Ekabuddhi Nirgrahyam means single awareness only, as one single awareness only. So, in fact, these are the things which have to be probably a person who has experienced also, he may not be able to communicate. Because how can he communicate all this? Suppose if we go to a real yogi. We are not real yogis, we are only trying to understand the text. But then suppose you go to a real yogi who has also experienced all these things. So he may be able to say, but then he may not be able to communicate to the student. The words are like that. Tatrapi Ekabuddhi Nirgrahyam, that is something which is cognized as one experience. Then Ya Punaha, is time over? 5 minutes. Should we read this line or we'll stop here? these lines, they go on like that, and they do tax the mind. Should I go on, or should we stop here? 5 minutes are there. You can unmute.
Yes, sir. We'll see the questions, sir.
Okay. Yeah, if we see the questions. Savitarka, we are stopping at this point. Okay. Yeah, there are some participants. Okay. So this has to be read and read twice or thrice, so that it goes into the mind. Otherwise, in one hearing, it may or may not go into the mind.
Yeah.
In one hearing, it bombards the mind. All these words with the new expressions and the new connotations, they just bombard the mind.
Thank you, sir. There is a question. Namaste, sir. Can you please explain the experience of place, time in Savitarka Sapati? And sir, is Nirvitarka level is equivalent to deep sleep state with object in the state of meditation?
No, it is not, cannot be equated with the deep sleep, because deep sleep is totally different. It is something which happens naturally. But here we are making a conscious effort to achieve a particular stage. And in deep sleep, there is no meditation or anything. Deep sleep, the mind gets withdrawn. But here the mind is very active. The mind is very active, and mind is focused on a particular thing, and it wants to get transformed into that. So the mind is highly focused here. So it cannot be compared with the deep sleep state. And here this time, space, what is this? Udita Dharma Visishtam, regarding this time, space, Desha Kala, Bhuta Sukshmakeshu, Avibhakta Dharmakeshu, it is okay. Avibhakta Dharma, Abhivyakta Dharmakeshu means that those which are manifested. Desha Kala Nimitta Anubhava Vachineshu. So that is the time, place, and context. So the need for this, even I didn't notice, I did not see in the commentary also. In fact, the Mimamsakas, they say that all our experience is because of Prarabdha. And Prarabdha again involves all these Desha, Kala, Nimitta and whatnot. So the Mimamsakas, they may say that it is a Prarabdha or something like that, but I don't know why these words are used. Maybe I'll check up. This Desha, Kala, Nimitta. I have just translated as it is. Why these things are used, I have to check up. I will further see other commentaries also.
So it is very interesting. Listening to the video again will help to revise.
Well, okay, thank you. So,
thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Hari Om Tat Sat.
Namaskar.